Algebra 1, we're continuing our work on polynomials, and we talked about adding, subtracting last time. Today we just talk about multiply, divide. So if I look at this, you've got a monomial right here, and inside the parentheses is a trinomial. When you multiply, it's the same as your distributive property, that negative 4x squared has to multiply by everything in the parentheses. So when the negative 4x squared multiplies by the 3x, you get what? Negative 12x cubed, and then plus 8x to the fourth, and then minus 28x squared. If we put this in standard form, that's 8x to the fourth minus 12x cubed minus 28x squared. Okay. So what we did, we multiplied a monomial with one term by a trinomial with three terms, and 1 times 3, we got an answer that had 3 terms. We can do this with numbers. We can figure out, okay, how can I multiply and write this as binomial? So 12 is the same as what? 12 is equal to 10 plus 2, and 13 is 10 plus 3. So if I multiply this, 10 times 10 is 100, 2 times 10, 3 times 10, and 2 times 3. So you end up with, you look at that, what is that, 156? Okay. So if we do the same thing with the polynomials, I can split it up, 2x plus 3, 4x minus 1, multiply 2x by 4x, 8x squared, 4x times 3, and then negative 2x, negative 3, and then my answer is going to be 8x squared plus 10x minus 3. Be careful with this one. There's not a parentheses around the first thing. So this is just distributive property with the 3. So this is 2x plus 12x minus 3, or 14x minus 3. So binomial multiplication comes up quite a bit. And we'll just talk about methods that people use. You can determine which one feels the best for you. The distributive property. So if I look at 5x minus 1 times 3x squared plus 2, everything in the first parentheses has to multiply by everything in the second parentheses. So the 5x has to multiply by 3x squared. So that's where I get 15x cubed. The 5x has to multiply, has to multiply by the 2, and that gives me 10x. Then the negative 1 has to multiply by the 3x squared, and the negative 1 has to multiply by the 2. In standard form, this is 15x cubed minus 3x squared plus 10x minus 2. Another way that people do the same problem is creating a table, and I think this is a good method for when you're starting out doing this. 5x minus 1, 3x squared, and 2. You get what? 15x cubed minus 3x squared, 10x, and minus 2. The nice thing about this method, you've got the blanks there, so you know you have to fill in every blank to get the values. Then your answer here is going to be 15x cubed minus 3x squared plus 10x minus 2. The other method for multiplying, it works for binomials. Some people don't like it because it doesn't work when you get to trinomials, but binomial multiplication comes up quite a bit. So there's an acronym FOIL, It stands for first, outside, inside, last. And what that means is when I'm multiplying this, I multiply the first terms together. So the A and the C, those are the first terms. The outside terms, the A and the D. The inside terms, the B and the C. And the last terms, the B and the D. So if I were to use that method for this same problem, when I multiply the first terms, I get what, 15x cubed. And then the outside terms, I get what, 10x. The inside terms, minus 3x squared. And then the last terms, minus 2. Okay. Find the area of the green rectangle. So if we look at this, I need to be able to multiply 2x plus 1 times x plus 3. So I can set up a table, whichever method you want. And this gives me what, 2x squared, x, 6x, and 3. So final answer here is 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. Find the product of, this is now a binomial and a trinomial. 2 things multiplied by 3 things will give me 6 things. So if I set this up in a table, 2x, 4, 2x squared, x minus 1. Two x squared times 2x is 4x cubed. 2x squared times 4, 8x squared. 2x squared, 4x minus 2x minus 4. And then put it in standard form, 4x cubed plus 10x squared plus 2x minus 4. When I multiply 2 trinomials, 3 things, I should end up with 6 things in this one. And this is where, like when we talked about that FOIL method, it breaks down. So you either use the distributed or you're setting up a table is the most common way people will approach this. Three x squared times x squared is 3x to the 4th, negative 6x cubed, 12x squared, and then x cubed minus 2x squared, 4x minus x squared, 2x minus 4. So this is 3x to the 4th. Combine the cube terms and you get minus 5x cubed. Combine the squared terms and you get 9x squared plus 6x minus 4. One final problem here. A smartphone has a screen that has a width of x and a height that is shown as 1.8 times the width. So what that means is the actual screen that I'm looking at, this side right here, is x, and then the top part of the screen is 1.8x. And we want to find out what area of this phone is not occupied by the screen. So it's going to be the large area. So you've got x plus 1 times 1.8 x plus 3, and then subtract x times 1.8x. Subtract off the screen. So if I look at the first one, multiplying the 2 binomials, so x plus 1, and then 1.8 x plus 3. So this is 1.8 x squared, 1.8x, 3x, and 3. So that's 1.8x squared plus 4.8x plus 3 minus 1.8x squared. So 4.8x plus 3 is the area, and that is in square centimeters. So centimeters squared. Okay, and that should lead you up in the homework where there's more practice on working with these problems.